Amazing Week continues next as Hunter crashes in on a gangland killing. And when Plan A doesn't work...
Think again, buddy.
Always going to have a Plan B. Hunter, next.
You're listening to TV Confidential with Ed Robertson and Frankie Monaforti. Visit our website at www.tvconfidential.net.
Works for me.
Stepfanie Kramer's co-star on Hunter was Fred Dreyer. Before Fred became an actor, he was an all-pro linebacker for the National Football League. If you want to win a copy of Stepfanie's Great American Songbook CD, name the NFL team that Fred Dreyer played for. And again, email only talk@tvconfidential.net. If you want to win Stepfanie's Great American Songbook CD, which we played bits of throughout the program. And Stepfanie, let me just say, it's a great CD. I've enjoyed listening to it, and I'm going to keep that for myself.
I'm glad you liked it.
Let's see. Most of us remember Stepfanie Kramer for playing Sergeant Dee Dee McCall, the brass cupcake, on the long-running Hunter series, which originally aired on NBC from 1984 through 1991, and again briefly on NBC around 2003. But as good as she was in Hunter, that is only one chapter in Stepfanie's life. She is not only a versatile performer who has appeared, I should say, in many top-rated made-for-TV movies and critically acclaimed independent feature films, but she is also an accomplished singer, composer, and lyricist. I want to ask you about that. Whose many musical talents have been praised by, get this, Frankie, her many musical talents have been praised by Bob Hope, Sammy Davis Jr., Brandon Tartikoff, Harry Belafonte, and Stephen J. Cannell. Stepfanie, welcome to TV Confidential.
Anybody big? Anybody we know?
And my mom likes me.
Well, but of course, Stepfanie, welcome to our program.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Nice to have you. Also joining us tonight is the man who gave us our first hour, TV historian and regular contributor to TV Confidential, David Krill. Credit where credit is due. It was because of David that Stepfanie Kramer is joining us here tonight. So, David, welcome back to the program. Thanks for being such a good sport.
Oh, thank you.
We love you,
and I
Dave.
reserve an hour on a future show to
there you go.
everything Frankie said in the first hour.
There you go.
Dave, you meant well.
Or should I say everything Frankie said in the first hour, and I didn't even listen to the show.
There is so much to talk about. In fact, we've already gotten several emails from listeners who have questions for Stepfanie. We will get to those very, very quickly. But first, Stepfanie, how did you come to be involved with the Hunter show?
Well, I was working on an episode of a Cannell program called Riptide that starred Joe Penny and Perry
King.
Thank you. And we were doing a spin-off episode that had the potential to become a series, and it was about me and another gal who were private eyes. Finished that episode. I came home literally that afternoon, and there was a script on my doorstep. And it was from NBC, and I opened it up, and it was Hunter, and it was the pilot. And I thought, what's this? And I called. They said, well, they want you to come in and, test for this pilot. I said, but I just did a pilot. Well, this would be in second position or first position, whichever one goes first, and you will go, and the rest is history.
Well, there's so much, it's interesting that you say you did it for Cannell, because, again, I just keep thinking brass cupcake. That had to come straight from Cannell.
I don't know if that was Stephen or if that was Frank Lupo. That sounds more like a Lupo-ism.
You do realize, Stepfanie, that you are stuck with that moniker for the rest of your life.
I know.
When you are 90 years old and you look as good as, let's say, Sid Charisse, walking down the street, and they say, my God, she still looks gorgeous, and they say, hey, brass cupcake. At 90, they are going to be calling you this. You do realize that.
I know. At least it isn't something like, there's that whack job. I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Well, and absolutely, and again, it is. For a show that, and again, we're talking about this a little bit in our first hour. The thing about Hunter is that it was on for 7 seasons originally, and it was a show that struggled originally, but because of the way things were for NBC and who was running NBC at the time, it was given a chance to succeed and find an audience, and I'm not sure that that would happen if it were on today.
I think you're absolutely right. Brandon Tartikoff really liked the show, and of course, Stephen was always supportive. He supported me in the role, even though I was talking with David earlier. That role originally was written for a woman who was 15 years older than I was at the time, and there was concern about that. But Stephen Cannell completely supported me, and the network just said, just make her look older, put on more hair and makeup, and by God they did. It was
well,
I look at those reruns now, and my daughter looks at it, she goes, Mom, what were you thinking?
Actually, if I could jump in there.
Sure, absolutely.
Stephanie, you shopped at a store called Mr. Frank.
That's right.
Mr. Frank is my father.
Oh, say hi to your dad.
I will. And it was funny because my father said, hey, I hear you're having Stepfanie Kramer on the show. He said, I got to tell you something. He said, because he had his clothing store for 26 years, and he clothed everybody in Hollywood. He said, Stephanie, along with Elkie Summers, had the greatest body, meaning that he said everything she wore, she had the perfect body. She could wear anything. Everything looked great on her. Because some people they can wear long dresses, but they can't wear short dresses. They can wear mini skirts, but they can't wear this. He said she, along with Elkie Summers, were the only two women that I had in my store all those years that could wear absolutely anything and look absolutely fabulous in anything.
I wish it were still true.
Well, and he also said, she was so nice, and he goes, always polite and sweet, and he said, oh God, I wish all my customers were like that. He said she never drove me crazy, and people always drove him crazy. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there. So
that is very sweet of him.
You can complain about her hair, but you can't complain about the wardrobe.
That's exactly right.
You got to love that. You got to love that. You got to love the '80s hair, though.
Oh my God! It looks like I walked around, stuck my finger in a socket, and never let go. I mean, it is just some crazy looking hair. I look at it now and I just laugh. But that was so happening then. I used to win. I think I won 2 or 3 years in a row. It was the Hairstylists Association of America, whoever those people are, as the best head of hair in Hollywood. Literally.
You should have had a line of
concern. Wasn't there some concern about the title?
The original show, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, originally the show...
as opposed to the title of your hair.
That's right. The original title of Hunter was actually Hunter and McCall, and that's how it was written.
Uh-huh.
But Cannell had a show, I'm not sure if it was on the air at the time we aired or just off the air, called Hardcastle and McCormick.
Oh, that's right, with Ben Vereen and Jeff Goldblum.
No. That was...
Peter Brown show.
Oh, that's right. Brian Keith and the other guy.
Patrick Hugh Kelly.
The other guy.
Come on, that's good, Ed. Yeah, Patrick Hugh Kelly.
Yes, and so...
also known as the other guy.
That other guy. So since they had a show that was an H and an M...
That's right.
They thought, we can't do another one with those initials. It'll just, I don't know, people won't understand. I mean, who the heck knew what they were thinking? So they talked about it and decided just to use Hunter.
You know what's frightening is that people get paid millions of dollars to trip out over things like, okay, should we call it, we should change the name to Hunter because people are going to weird out over another H and C.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yes, it is.
Well, it's like the show Charlie's Angels. They were actually going to call it Harry's Angels, but they had Harry O with David Jansen at ABC, and they said we can't have two shows with the name Harry in it.
It equally is odd.
But actually, Charlie's Angels worked out better because it's like it's funny that that one little nuance could have changed everying.
It's true.
Of course, speaking of Harry, and I'm trying to think. I just caught that, but.
You'll have to forget. Ed. We don't. Well, the problem is this is like a home school radio show. So we don't have producers and boards. So Ed is basically doing he's doing about 4 jobs at once. So you have to give Ed a lot of credit.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. That's another. Anyway, but no, I'm trying to remember. Wasn't Hunter originally supposed to be like a variation of Dirty Harry, and you tried that, but then but then you sort of.
Originally, the format was that Fred was the son of some mafia family. Mm-hmm. So here you got this giant, blonde, blue-eyed guy. I don't know why they went there, but they decided that's what they wanted it to be, and he got coupled with me as his new street partner, and that concept lasted a little while as the show found its legs in the first year, but then they really let that go, and they didn't resurrect it, which I think was better for the show as a whole, frankly.
Well, of course, if I remember correctly, when Roy came aboard, Roy Huggins, yeah,
sure.
I mean, he was, really, it was in a lot of ways, it was Roy, reshaping, the whole concept of the show. That coupled with, Brandon, staying with it, that those really, helped the show take off.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We found an audience. It was hard fought, to be sure. There were a lot of shows that came on at the same time. I remember Miami Vice was very popular, and I think they were trying to find the strength of what the show was, when in fact the strength of that show, and I think of any show, is really the on-screen chemistry between the actors. Mm-hmm. If that's working, if that's firing, then you're going to have something interesting to watch. And, of course, you've got to support it with some good scripts. And people are going to watch it. They're going to tune in and watch that. And I think that really is what made this show different. Of course, Roy, as you said, came in and did retool a product, and it made a big difference. But people really responded to just the energetic value that Fred and I had on screen with each other. And I think that's, we're so lucky that happened that way, that it clicked like that. It was terrific.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about this, many times, Stepfanie. It's like, with television, it's good to tell a story, but 9 times out of 10 you watch because of the characters and the performers on the show, and
yeah, the audience is invested in those people. It's interesting because television is it's an extremely intimate format, because you're sitting in your home, your most intimate, safe space, and you are bringing that energy of what you're watching into that space. And often people feel a connection with you as if they actually know you because they are in their home. It's kind of some sort of kinesthetic response that happens, I think, and people either respond to you or they don't. And I'm very lucky that they did, obviously.
And absolutely, and again, that's the great thing. That's the great thing. But of course, you talk about response. I mean, Hunter was a big show here in the States, but I understand it continues to be hugely popular overseas in China. I mean, any idea why it's so popular in China?
I have no idea. The wildest thing ever. I mean, I get fan mail. I just got a huge box downstairs, and France is also enormously popular in France. Germany, Eastern Bloc countries, Australia, England, Ireland, Italy, big. But China, it is the biggest show in the history of China.
And on Hunter's Wikipedia page, there's a mention that it was the favorite of the former disgraced mayor of Beijing. And that
well, you got that going for you. That's good.
Yeah.
Hey! I was told, actually, one year I was invited by the Chinese government to open up the Shanghai Film and Television Festival. It was a beautiful, wonderful, huge event, and I was quite honored and had a wonderful time. While I was there, I was told that, and this, I don't know if this is true or not, but I was told that when Tiananmen Square happened, mm-hmm. That the guys who called out the tanks, before they made their final decision, they sat in a room and relaxed and watched an episode of Hunter. I said, "Are you kidding me?" That makes me feel.
The weight of the world was hanging on whether Dee Dee's going to jump out of that bathtub in the opening episode when he kicks in that door.
I mean, that's wild. That is wild, isn't it?
Of course, it's funny. I mean, the things you think of. I mean, world leaders who like certain television shows. I mean, I'm trying to think.